To protect you against a bypass, you must sign and oblige the other party to sign a non-disclosure and non-circumvention agreement. What is a bypass? You have a supplier somewhere in a foreign country, and you have a buyer in another foreign country. A bypass is just that. They disregard you, the buyer or the supplier disregard you, and they negotiate exclusively with themselves, and you are ignored completely, and there is no money. And you have found a buyer for your supplier, or you have found a supplier for your buyer, and you get no money. That's why you must, and the other party, or the buyer, or the supplier, they must sign a NDNCA, brokerage, non-circumvention, non-disclosure agreement. NDA. A, hereinafter referred to as supplier, and on the other side, B and C, hereinafter jointly referred to as broker. Supplier and broker are jointly herein referred to as parties and individually as party. Whereas, 1. The parties are considering a possible transaction which consists in commodities intermediation, hereinafter referred to as the transaction.
2. In view of the transaction, the parties intend to exchange confidential information and have decided to enter into a brokerage agreement. The parties have agreed to enter into this agreement, which shall be governed by the following terms and conditions. 1. Intermediation and brokerage. The broker will provide the following services. A. Vindication of names and addresses of third parties or of a particular deal to be made with a third party for the purpose of enabling the supplier to enter into a business relationship with such third party. B. The placing of the supplier into contact with a third party and providing assistance to the supplier for the purpose of concluding a specific deal or contract with such third party. C. The information that the broker has agreed to provide to the supplier will be transferred to the supplier through exchange of electronic messages, especially through the email addresses listed in this agreement. D. The broker will have exclusivity rights and commercial protection over the prospective business partners, third parties, he introduces to the supplier. E. Supplier may deal with the business prospects only through the broker. This is to avoid a bypass. It's wrong. All third parties introduced by the broker or contacted by the broker on behalf of the supplier will enjoy commercial protection. G. Commissions will be due to the broker for all businesses, present or future, entered into with the third parties introduced by the broker. Unless otherwise agreed in writing, the broker has no authority to make contracts on behalf of or in any way to legally bind the supplier towards the third parties. 1.2. At the moment of execution of this agreement, the parties acknowledge that the third parties indicated it's wrong. In attachment 1, client's list, have already been introduced by supplier to broker.
Number 2. Compensation payable to the broker. 2.1. In consideration for the service rendered, supplier must pay a commission of US$ per ton commercialized by the supplier to the third parties introduced by the broker. The commission shall be divided equally between B and C. The commission will be paid in up to 2 business days after the supplier, the L is missing, receives payment for the transaction. 2.3. Whenever the commission is paid in Brazilian reais, the foreign exchange rate to be used shall be the same rate used by the supplier when the supplier closes the foreign exchange agreement connected to the export. In case this information is not available, the PTax rate or the final day of the boarding of the products shall be used. What is a PTax rate? PTax means on a specific business day, the foreign exchange rate used as reference for the US sales quotation, published by Bacen on such business day, mainly referred to as sales PTax, or any other foreign exchange rate published by Bacen that may replace this rate. 2.4. The commission will be calculated over the contract value, meaning the CIF price of the goods. What does CIF mean? The seller must, at its own cost, provide the buyer with the usual transport document for the agreed port of destination. This transport document must cover the contract goods, be dated within the period agreed for shipment, enable the buyer to claim the goods from the carrier at the port of destination, and, unless otherwise agreed, enable the buyer to sell the goods in transit by the transfer of the document to a subsequent buyer or by notification to the carrier. When such a transport document is issued in negotiable form and in several originals, a full set of originals must be presented to the buyer. In other words, the seller pays for the insurance, for the transportation, and the seller must provide the buyer with a document to enable the buyer to sell the goods that are being transported to another buyer. Number 2.5. All deals made by the supplier which fall under the broker's exclusivity will entitle the broker, unless otherwise agreed in writing, to the compensation foreseen in this agreement on the terms and conditions herein. 2.6. The compensation is owed to the broker once it has achieved the result provided for in this agreement, or even if that does not take effect by the supplier's fault, pursuant to Article 725 of the Brazilian Civil Code. 2.7. Neither party shall attempt to avoid payment of any fees or commissions due to the other party in connection with any transaction that was initiated by or the result of an introduction of the entity by one party to the other. Number 3. Exclusive rights of the broker. 3.1.
If the broker introduces the supplier to a third party, puts the supplier into contact with a third party, and or assists during negotiation with a third party, the broker is granted an exclusive right to act as a broker for present and future business of the same type with such third party. Customer protection on the terms and conditions indicated in this agreement. 3.2. Unless otherwise agreed to in writing, any exclusive right granted to the broker will not exceed the duration of this agreement. However, in case of earlier termination by the broker due to breach by the supplier, the exclusive rights granted to the broker and corresponding compensation will last until the date on which the agreement would have naturally expired. 4. Damages in case of breach. 4.1. If a party breaches his obligations under this agreement, the other party will be entitled to recover the actual damages suffered as a consequence of such breach. 4.2. If the supplier concludes a contract with a third party in breach of this agreement, the damages suffered by the broker are assumed to be at least equivalent to the compensation payable to the broker under this agreement on such business. Number 5. Right to inspect the supplier's books. 5.1. The broker will have the right to have the supplier's books inspected by an independent expert for the purpose of detecting a possible breach by the supplier of his obligations under this contract. A possible breach. I think it's breach. It's not breach. B-R-E-A-C-H. Breach. (5.2) If the inspection shows that the supplier has breached this contract, the costs of such inspection shall be borne by the supplier, otherwise they shall be borne by the broker. Breached, not broached. It's full of mistakes, this contract. Number 6. Non-circumvention. 6.1. Neither party will deal with, contract with, or otherwise conduct business with any individual or entity introduced by the other party without the prior knowledge and written permission of the introducing party and without payment of commission to the broker. This non-circumvention provision shall be valid during the term of this agreement and, in case of early termination, for a minimum of 5 years after the termination date. This is to avoid a bypass. Number 7. Non-solicitation. 7.1. For the term of this agreement and for a period of 5 years after its termination, the parties agree not to solicit for hire, advise, or assist others with the opportunity to do the same, any employee of the other party, without the prior written consent of such party. Number 8. Confidentiality and limited use of confidential information. 8.1. All confidential information disclosed by one party, disclosing party, to the other party, receiving party, shall be kept confidential by the receiving party and shall not, without the prior written consent of the disclosing party, be disclosed by the receiving party to any third party in any matter whatsoever, in whole or in part, and shall not be used by the receiving party for any purpose other than in connection with the execution of the transaction. 8.2. The term confidential information does not include information which the receiving party can clearly demonstrate. 8.2.1. Upon disclosure to the receiving party, such information was already in the public domain or came into the public domain after disclosure to the receiving party without a breach of any confidentiality obligation. 8.2.2. It was disclosed to the receiving party by a third party not being subject to any confidentiality clause and without infringing this agreement. 8.2.3. It was demonstrably in the possession of the receiving party before the execution of this agreement or was independently developed by the receiving party without recourse to confidential information received from the disclosing party. 8.2.4. It is required to be disclosed under applicable laws, including rules of any competent public authority or by governmental order, decree, regulation, or rule binding upon a receiving party. 8.2.5. The recipient party undertakes to procure that the representatives of the recipient party comply with the terms and conditions of this agreement, as well as acknowledges and agrees hereby to be the sole and exclusive responsible before the disclosing party for the maintenance of the confidentiality of the confidential information by its representatives, and the recipient party must inform to the disclosing party upon its request who are the representatives of the recipient party that will have access to the confidential information. 8.2.6. All confidential information and all material items delivered by the disclosing party to the recipient party remains the property of the disclosing party, and no license or other rights in the confidential information are granted to the recipient party by this agreement or by the act of disclosure. No rights, obligations, representations, or terms other than those expressly set forth herein are to be implied from this agreement. In particular, without limitation, no license is hereby granted directly or indirectly to any party or their representatives. A. Under any patent, trademark, trade secret, or copyright, or B. To use the other party's name, trades, names, trademarks, service marks, logos, or designs for any purpose, without the other party's prior written consent. 8.2.7. Upon the written request of the disclosing party, the recipient party shall return, erase, or destroy all materials that contain or embody any confidential information of the disclosing party. The parties warrant and represent that the return, erase, or destruction of such material shall not relieve the recipient party of its confidentiality obligations. 9. Term. This agreement shall remain valid and in full force until the earlier of 5 years counted as of the date hereof. 10. Arbitration. 10.1. Any dispute arising out of or relating to this agreement shall be decided by arbitration, in accordance with the rules of the Câmara de Conciliação, Mediação e Arbitragem CIESP-FIESP, by 3 arbitrators appointed in accordance with such rules. The applicable law will be the Brazilian law. The arbitration will be held in São Paulo and conducted in Portuguese. 10.2. The parties choose the forum of the city of São Paulo, expressly renouncing to any other as the forum competent, to assess requests for urgent, precautionary or injunction measures, to resolve the disputes that the arbitration could not resolve, and for the enforcement of the arbitral award. 11. General provisions. 11.1. The Portuguese language is the language to be used in determining the interpretation and validity of this agreement. 11.2. This agreement, any supplementary agreements and or addenda may be executed and delivered by facsimile transmission or other electronic means, and shall be considered original documents. 11.3. All electronic signatures, fax or email, including those in counterpart, in regard to this agreement, shall be accepted as original signatures. 11.4. This contract replaces any other preceding agreement between the parties on the subject. 11.5. No addition or modification to this contract shall be valid unless made in writing. 11.6. The parties shall not assign any other obligations under this agreement to any third parties under any circumstances. 11.7. The parties acknowledge that a. The partial exercise or the non-exercise, the granting of a deferral, the tolerance or the omission in exercising any right, power or privilege conferred to the party by means of this agreement and or as a result of law shall not constitute novation, abandonment or waiver of such right, power or privilege, nor will it prevent their exercise, and they shall not therefore affect their right to entirely assert at any time any obligations undertaken herein. B. The withdrawal or waiver of any right conferred to the party by means of this agreement shall be interpreted restrictively and shall not be deemed as abandonment or waiver of any other right conferred to the parties by means of this agreement. 11.8. This document constitutes the entire agreement between the parties in force to this date. Any changes to this agreement shall require a new document signed by both parties. In witness hereof, the parties execute this agreement on this day. We have the date in Portuguese, then the supplier in Portuguese, the broker in Portuguese, another broker, the witnesses, their names, and the register at the finance ministry. And finally, attachment 1, client's list.
Shortly on your screen, you'll see my Brazilian bar number and my email. Bye.